I'm Melissa Parton here for Devil's Digest with publisher Hod Rabino after ASU came up off of a loss with Oregon, 43-21. And Hod, what did you overall see from this ASU team?
Well, it definitely was a disappointing loss, and you can always look at game preparation lacking when you lose a game like this. Granted, Oregon is one of the best teams in the country. I mean, I won't be surprised if we see them the first week of January being crowned the national champions. I mean, this team is definitely legitimate in all phases of the football game. I just feel that the speed and athleticism of Oregon on both sides of the ball is something that ASU just wasn't prepared for. I know that ASU went in with the mentality that they wanted to go and just play their own game, but unfortunately against a team like Oregon it just did not work out. I mean, all the speed and athleticism that ASU has that served them so well up until now, granted against inferior opponents, really came to bite them back against a team like Oregon. And obviously the injury to Will Sutton was huge. Second play of the game. Kind of ironic, Will Sutton is the one that causes the fumble. ASU goes on to score on the very next play. But you talk about a costly turnover for Arizona State, and it was a very deflated sideline after that happened. And when Oregon came back and scored right away and then scored 43 unanswered points in the first half, that was pretty much the beginning of the end.
What were the weaknesses did this Oregon team expose for this ASU team?
Well, definitely I would say defensive line, because let's not forget that Junior Nieli also went out later on in the game, and without two of the best probably defensive linemen for Arizona State, Oregon was able to go ahead and run the ball at will. And if you look at Oregon as far as an offense, once able to make that first cut through the defensive line, those guys are gone. I said in a former interview, I mean, it's almost like not a football team, like an Olympic track team out there with their speed. And if you're not able to go ahead and stop them in the line of scrimmage, you're not able to win that battle of the trenches, you know, the game gets over pretty fast, and that's what happened today. On defense, I just feel that Taylor Kelly just was very confused by the coverages, obviously through two interceptions. Wide receivers, like they were most of the season, just were not a factor. Chris Coyle, the tight end, was covered very, very well, something again that we've seen week in and week out. And as far as the running game, I just didn't say an offensive line was overpowering like it was in previous weeks. And once ASU wasn't able to establish the run, and Taylor Kelly just faced a lot of third and long situations, and again against a very good Oregon secondary that came into this game already having 10 interceptions on the year. That was really hard for Taylor Kelly to overcome.
Do you think we're going to see more of Michael Eubank coming into the rest of the season? He did come in during the game, got a lot of action towards the second half of the game. What do you think ASU is going to do with that?
I don't know, because it seems like the last couple of weeks ASU has gone away from the two-quarterback system. So now I think it's more of an issue of, okay, will Michael Eubank just really get a lot more snaps with than Taylor Kelly will, rather than just rotating back and forth like we've seen for the first 4 or 5 weeks. I don't know if Michael Eubank right now, as far as a pure passer, is better than Taylor Kelly. So to me, to go back to a two-quarterback system, or to have Michael Eubank get that many more snaps than Taylor Kelly, to me, probably is not going to be the prudent thing to do. You know, today was almost one of those games where he just overmatched, overpowered by one of the best teams in the country. Take it for what it is. Take the lessons that we learned from this game, and just like ASU was able to play so well after that Missouri loss, which was, you know, not a blowout, but a really hurtful loss, so to speak. I think ASU really has to do the same. Not really trying to reinvent the wheel. Let Taylor Kelly, let the offense, let the defense just forget about this game and move on. But as far as Michael Eubank getting as many snaps as Kelly, let alone more snaps than Kelly, I don't think it's a prudent thing to do, at least not right now.
What players have to step up more in this going into UCLA to be more successful?
Well, we talked about the offensive line, and I really feel that in previous weeks were able to go to impose their will, and the defensive line for Oregon really had their way with the Arizona State offensive line. Arizona State is a team that obviously their most competent or most potent area of their offense is their running game, and if they can establish the run, that's what makes Taylor Kelly, I think such a great quarterback. So I feel that that's one area in specific that has to get better. And we talked about the wide receivers, and unfortunately that's a theme that's coming up almost every week. You know, just when you think the wide receivers have turned the corner, they come back and regress and don't play well like they did this week, and really even last week. In a win in Colorado, they didn't play all that well. That group really has to step up. It's going to make Taylor Kelly's life so much easier, because there's only so much you can throw to the running backs, there's only so much you can throw to Chris Coyle, which again is becoming a focal point for opposing defenses week in and week out. Those wide receivers really have to step up. So those are the guys I look to step up on offense. On defense, we don't know yet right now what the extent of the injury for Will Sutton is. I'll be shocked if he plays next week, and you just kind of hope that he comes back sometime in November. Defensive lines are going to have to step up. I mean, they're thin right now. We also talked about injury for Junior Nieli, which may not seem as serious, but we don't know the extent of it right now. That's one group that was already thin going in. Unfortunately, got exposed with their lack of depth today. Some way, somehow, that group is going to have to go ahead and step up in the weeks to come. So that's really what they're up against right now, as far as both sides of the ball. I mean, again, this loss isn't the end of the road. It's not the end of the world. Still a lot of football to be played. Granted, there are some tough games to be played still in the next few weeks, but if they can go ahead and shore up those areas, I mean, they can still go ahead and make something out of this season.
Overall, what can ASU take from this loss against Oregon?
Well, I think just really game preparation, and I'm sure Graham in his press conference today is going to go and take full blame for this loss, for the team not being prepared. So I think that that's something they can go ahead and take away from. I know that some people are going to argue, was ASU just too hyped, too emotional for this game, and maybe this loss brings them down to earth, makes them humble again. I mean, I don't know if that's really a fair thing to say, but I know that argument's going to be out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can go ahead and handle it mentally. I think the game against UCLA is still a winnable game next week, but now I just kind of wonder about, like I said, injuries to Will Sutton, injury to Junior Nieli, and just really just the mental state of the team right now. How quick can they bounce back? They bounced back pretty well against the loss against Missouri, and hopefully they can go ahead and do the same against Oregon, even though the circumstances were much different because it was a conference team on the road, blackout, near sellout crowd, all this build-up, and for a game to be over before halftime, I mean, it's beyond deflating. But we'll see how they bounce back. I think Coach Graham all season long has done a good job just having this team not get too high and too low, and wants them to go ahead and handle adversity. And right now, there definitely is adversity to be handled at Arizona State.
How hard will it be for this ASU team to bounce back and play well against this UCLA team, which could be a winnable game, but how important is it for them to do that?
Well, I mean, definitely very important, and you always hear that cliche that the game of football is so much more mental than it is physical, and I think that's something that gets proven at every level. It gets proven with every team, and Arizona State's no different. So I think a lot of work will be done probably on the mental preparation for that game against UCLA. Again, I mean, you're talking about a team right now that's really been brought down to earth, so to speak, after this Oregon loss, and it's important for them to go ahead and just really treat UCLA like this is a brand new season, and go ahead and realize that a win against UCLA is 6 wins on the year, and that means you're bowl eligible. So that's something definitely to go ahead and look forward to. You don't have that many home games left. You got UCLA, and then you got Washington State, and you're done. If you want to make something out of this season, you have to go and protect your home turf. This is the only loss at home today to Oregon, and again, it's a game that not a lot of people gave ASU a chance to begin with. That's fine. Go ahead and put it aside, get ready next week for UCLA, and realize that there's still a lot more to accomplish this season. And go ahead and really prove to yourself that you are not the team that you were last year, because I've already been hearing throughout the game, oh my gosh, here we go again, 2011, losing the last 4 regular season games in a row. ASU is going to go and do it again. ASU really needs to prove that it's not the team that it was last year, and it really has done a good job. I mean, even with the loss to Oregon right now, it's shown that the mental makeup, the way they approach the game, their discipline is so different than last year. And I think a lot of the returning players, the seniors, want to make sure that they really can prove to themselves this is a brand new Arizona State team, and we're going to go ahead and put that Oregon loss in its proper perspective and going to bounce back against UCLA. So it's definitely very important for ASU to go ahead and prove that to themselves, and really to a lot of the fan base, which I'm sure a lot of people are jumping off the bandwagon right now as we speak. Time to get them back on, and a win against UCLA is going to do that.
All right, well, we'll see how Arizona State does against UCLA next weekend. And this is Liz Parton and Hood Rubino for Devil's Digest.